Well, hey everybody, it's HeapCVA. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for coming back. Or if you're new, welcome to my channel. I'm going to do something a little bit different today, but it is definitely related to 911 First Responder, which is my name for the name that comes with the version of the game that I bought. It's the same as Emergency 4. The only thing is the name. Even the cover is, I think, pretty much the same. Atari changed the name when they bought the rights to sell it. I'm not here to talk to you about that. Somebody had asked me, one of my subscribers, to show them how to install a mod in 911 First Responder / Emergency 4 so they could play mods in addition to the base game. And that honestly is the only way that I would have thought to do this type of video, because I know others exist, and I appreciate that somebody asked me to do that, and to me it's kind of a big deal. So I'll try to keep it as short as I can, because fortunately there isn't a ton to talk about, but I'm going to add my layer of it. And if you hear some tappity tap behind me, I'm babysitting my daughter's dog. It's a pug, and man, is it like to pester me, but it's okay. It's a cool dog. Anyway, where we're at right now is my master files. This is File Manager, or whatever Windows 10 calls it now. And what you see is this PC, the way that the thing is done now, and my D drive, which is the hard drive, because C drive is a solid state drive, so it's just EEPROM chips or whatever those chips are that they use. And there's nothing installed on there other than Windows 10 and like 3 programs that absolutely refuse to install on D drive. I like to keep that as open as possible, just to let Windows 10 run, because it gets bigger every time I turn around. So the question is how to install mods. It's a very straightforward process, and once you understand the very few steps that are needed, installing mods is so easy. So let's talk about mods and what they look like. And it kind of gives you a view inside my world, which my head basically, of how I manage mods. And I started this process long before I decided to create videos. So if you don't know, or you haven't bought the game yet, or you haven't looked, you just played the game, 911 First Responders / Emergency 4 resides on a drive. It could be D, it could be something else. It's your choice of which drive it's going to get installed on. For me, it's in D drive, but it's in the Windows master file known as Program Files x86, and it has to do with how the program is written. So if we open that up, you don't see I have don't have a ton of stuff in there. All of my programs that I've videoed so far are off of Steam's archive. I lost some CDs over time, and it was cheaper in the long run to get my programs from Steam than try to track down hard copies of games after a while. All I can do is keep my fingers crossed that Steam doesn't go out of business. So I have to click in Steam, on Steam apps, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, tongue-tied. The common folder, and what you'll see is all of the files, game files, that are listed that belong to Steam. And 911 first responders is at the top of that list because it starts with a number instead of a letter. So this is the master folder for 911 first responder. If I open it up, you'll see it has two folders underneath it. The data folder is the base information to run the game in the base way, with just the fire engines that are on it, the challenges and stuff like that. There's no mods in that. There's an extra folder that it will install that's the mods file. And in my computer, it's a fairly good list of mods that I have installed that are playable. There might be some that don't work well, but I'm working on fixing those. And so when you install a mod, make sure that you install the mod in the mods folder underneath the master 911 first responders or emergency 4 folder, whether it's in Steam or it's higher up in your C drive because you don't use Steam, you bought a hard copy. Look for this file, which is 911 first responder for me. Open it up, look for the mods folder underneath, and that's where all of your mods live. As you download them and install them, they're all going to be here. They're not going to be anywhere else. That's pretty straightforward. And you can see what I use. I think there's two mods on here that I have corrupted copies of the download. Still have not succeeded in getting a clean copy, even from good spots that I've usually had good luck with, so that I can play them. And one is Copenhagen. Trying real hard, it's not working. So I need to add to what this is so that you can understand how I do it, because the reason I do it the way I do is because I want to have backups of files, because there's nothing like loving a mod, adding it to 911 or emergency 4, having something happen and you go to download it again because something went wrong and now it's no longer available. And you didn't save a copy of it, and so you can no longer play the mod because you don't have it on your hard drive or on a CD or a jump drive or anything else. It's gone. And I've had that happen to me when I was not paying attention. So I created another drive letter on a portable drive that I use just as storage. And it's down here. And if you guys have ever seen Passport little hard drives, that's what I'm using. Western, I honestly can't think of the word right now. But anyway, it's 2 terabytes, which is more than enough for me. And I'm quite a far ways away from filling it up yet. So I created a download storage, and I gotta get down to it, because originally it resided on my regular drive, and I realized how much room I needed to create videos, because when you render them, a lot of storage is used, believe it or not, because as it writes part of your video, it's moving stuff around on the hard drive. This just makes it a little easier. How much easier? I don't know. Anyway, these are all mods I've downloaded that I have copies of, that whether or not they're actually installed in the game or not, it's another story, but I keep copies of them anyway. I create these folders on the left-hand side, and they're named similar to what the mod name is, to jog my memory, number 1, and number 2, to keep things in an order, because I have 3 Boston mods, only one of which I use. The other 2 I don't have as much luck with. I have both LA mods. I have some sub mods. And so I try to keep them in a little bit of order. Not so much because it's cool to keep the folders in alphabetical order, but if I open, let's look at LA Mod. I have the original download mods for almost everything that I have in this folder. So like Harbor City, Copenhagen, Northview, South County. I have all of the original downloads. And when you go to download a mod off of any of the sites, I'll use one as an example. It's just one of several that I check. EmergencyPlanet.com has been around for quite a while. They've gone through a few things here and there, but they have a download section where mods that they believe are as stable as they're ever going to be are available for even up to Emergency 5, which I can't imagine there's much available for that. One full mod is what they offer up. But there's a lot of info in here, a tremendous amount of info. And so it's a good place to start your hunt. The reason that I mention them only because mods come in different flavors, if you will. There's the zip file type, because when people offer their mods up for download, it's usually compressed somehow to make it a smaller download for you, so it doesn't take 4 hours to download it. Mega and some of those sites require you to compress your mods before they'll let you put them up for download. South County, Northview South County, is a zip file. That's the extension after the name of this file. I have another one. Let's look at Copenhagen. It is a .rar, which I pronounce rare. You can pronounce it any way you want. File. Zip and rare are the most common that I've seen. Not just for this game, but many things. There's also a couple of ones in here, I don't know exactly which one, that is a 7Z. It's the number 7 and a Z after the period. And somebody used a particular program, which I know very well, because I own it, and it's called 7-Zip. It's free to download. It works very well. And so those are 2 or 3 of the available ones. Now, that just gets the download onto your computer. If you have Windows, Windows creates a download folder by default, and everything you download, unless you tell it to do otherwise, is going to reside there until you move it. On my computer, when I download a file, it originally goes there. I go right to that folder and move it somewhere else, because I don't want the D drive to be all choked up with stuff. So this portable hard drive that I use stores all of my downloads. It also creates a folder, because each one of these things, whether it's a RAR, rare, or a zip file, or a 7Z, or any number of other things that are used to compress folders, it's a place that allows me to expand that folder, open it up. Let's look at Northview, South County. So we see the zip file. If I right click on it and tell 7-Zip to extract all the files in that zip file into this folder, it will do that, and what it creates is that folder you see above it. I don't know why it's on top of it. It just decided to do that. The upside of that is that folder has all of the subfolders that all mods need for the game to see them as a mod and make them available for you to play. So here is Northview, South County. Unzipped and on another hard drive, so that I have a good copy that is always available to me if I do something stupid and wreck the copy that's in the game. So I always have a backup. So when I want to download one of those type of files, a zip or rare 7z, I can bring them in here, open them up in their own folder, then copy this. You just right click on the file and choose copy. It creates a copy that I can come right back up to the 9/11 first responders or E4 folder. That's both game names use the terms data and mods. I click on the mods folder, right click over here and paste that guy in here, and it's immediately available to play. Unless it's corrupt, which I'll show you that in a minute. But that's the easy installs of mods that are available for your game. Now the other one that I've seen that absolutely doesn't affect play in any way, shape, or form, it's just the way it was compressed, is for me right now, and there's a couple others in here, but this is the one that sticks in my head because I have other issues, is the Copenhagen Airport Mod. So it comes as a .rar or rare file. When you open it up, when you right click on it and tell zip to extract it into this folder, you get this folder instead, or this file. It has no file structure that you can see. It doesn't look like a mod file quite yet. So this extension, after you open up the rare file, is known as an E4 mod extension. It is the old original classification that I think the original game makers wanted you to use to create mods for the game. And so some people still use the E4 mod. I've seen them both ways. They work just as well. There's just one small difference. And I'll show you how I install an E4 mod, regardless of its name, into my folder. Is I will copy the E4 mod. Remember, it's on my little portable drive. It's copied into memory, go up to the C drive or D drive, into the mods folder, and right click and tell it to paste, and it'll write that file. And in fact, I'm going to do it. It only takes a second, and there it is down at the bottom. That is not a mod yet. It's just like a toaster doesn't know it's a toaster till you plug it in, especially now because they all have little electronic plugs in them. Or computers don't know what they are until you plug them in and you run the operating system. It wouldn't know if it was a toaster or vacuum cleaner if it didn't have Windows or Ubuntu or one operating system or another to run it and tell it that it's a computer. That was something taught to me when I was learning computer stuff a long time ago. Let's leave it at that. So here is this file, which now we have to have the game install for us. And that's where the mod installer that comes with the game that you buy exists, is this little box. And when you tell it to look for that E4 mod file, and that's why I copy it into the mods folder, it doesn't have to look very far. It will find it because it's usually down at the bottom because it's a file, not a folder. And tell it to open it. And because I already have a copy, it's not going to let me do it, but it'll install it and create the folders that you see on the left-hand side. And then it is now a mod you can use. Super easy to do. But you have to open this little program. You can't just right-click on, oops, I didn't need to do that. You can't just right click on this and run it from the mod installer. the mod installer has to run, find that E4 mod file, and then install it for you. So that's the two ways that I'm aware of that I've used to install a mod in my version of the game, which is called 9/11 First Responders or 911 First Responders, in the mods folder. If there's another way to do it out there, I'm not necessarily aware of it. I haven't seen all the mods that are available, and I don't have many of the European mods. For me, when I download a mod from a European maker, whether it's German, Dutch, I have the Dutch mod, Copenhagen, which I can't get to play because I have a corrupt copy. You can see Netherlands listed in my list. Spain, some others. I like to see what the words mean before I create videos about them. Because not that I want to speak Dutch, because even though it's the Netherlands, the people that live there are Dutch, because I'm half Dutch. Germany, same way. I like their language is interesting to me. I like Germany. I've been there. I like the way that they talk. I like their words, and I like to learn what those words mean. So when you see a mod that's in another language, I like to hear what they're saying and what words mean that are written in the mod, so that I don't inadvertently dispatch the wrong things. I know what their version of a fire engine or a fire truck or an ambulance is compared to our words for it, and it's a learning experience. And you should never stop learning at any time in your life. So I'm still doing that. I have, well, you see in my list here already, I've got the Barcelona mod and the Gandia mod, which are both, I believe, Spanish. Copenhagen, or however you want to pronounce that. Now, London isn't another language to me, but their version of English is a little bit different than Americans' English. And I think I have the Netherlands modification, and I think that's it. You can't count the Canadian ones either. There's none from the eastern side of Canada where they speak French, so I don't have anything to compare that to. And most of my friends that are Canadian, I mean, I don't really catch much of a difference in how they say things versus me. So that's what I got going on so far. I do have some others downloaded down here, I think. Some I've moved around a little bit. And I'm having a little bit of trouble with a couple of them. I'm thinking it's my computer or the way I've installed it. And so I'm fooling around with those. But like figuring out the Dutch one because of some of the words they use is tough. I got to go to Google Interpreter every time I turn around to find out a word. And if I misspell a word when I'm doing it because I'm going back and forth, I can get a little old after a while. So that aside, those two ways that I told you, and I'm sorry for the dogs barking because the door's closed and there's nothing outside. It's dark outside, for crying out loud. But they need to bark because it makes them feel like they're in charge. See, they completely got me off of my thing here, and I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, the two ways that I've talked about and sort of showed you how to install a mod should work for you 99.995% of the time. I haven't met a mod yet that I couldn't do one of the two ways that I've just shown you and got a mod into my game and been able to use it if it was a working download. Like I said, sometimes downloads become corrupt just from being downloaded so much, and it's an issue that pops up not as much now as it used to, but it still does, is that the hard drives that they're installed on sometimes get corrupt because they're starting to go bad, and they miswrite sectors, which is the way that programs are written onto the device inside the hard drive. And sometimes it hits the platter or forgets to put a 0 and a 1 somewhere, and boom, that file is all of a sudden corrupt. And nobody knows it, and they continue to download it, and all of a sudden it doesn't play anymore, and you just can't figure it out. I'm running into that a couple of times. Mega and a couple of the others that are out there that offer quite a few of the mods that are still available, I think have, they get hit pretty hard for downloads. And I think that corruption also comes from the distance that the mod's got to go to get to your house. I believe Mega is in Australia or New Zealand. At least the one I see is, or that's where it originated. And so it's not driving across the street to see it. It may be going across the world. It may be half way around the planet trying to get to you. So there's all kinds of opportunities for things to happen. You just got to keep your fingers crossed. And when you do have something that's corrupt, just keep trying, and eventually you'll find the one that works. So with that being said, thanks so much for asking me to do this. I hope I did a good job. If I did, would you please leave me a comment? If I didn't do a good job, please leave me a comment. If you like what I did and you think it's worthy, please leave a like. I'd really appreciate it. And it kind of spurs me on to do stuff like this all the time. It makes me nervous to do this because I want to be thorough, but I don't want to bore you to death either. It's not like teaching high school, which I've done. But yet, everybody's at a different level when they're sitting in front of their computer. So I hope what I said made sense to you. If it doesn't, please let me know. That being said, if you like what I'm doing on this channel and you want to see more, and I promise you there is more coming. In fact, there's another game that I just got my code for today, for another game that's on here called 9/11 Operator, and you may have seen maybe one or two people talk about it. I am one of the supporters of it, and so I finally got my key for Steam. And I've been fooling around with that today, and I'm trying to put together enough stuff and learn how to play the game well enough to do a video on it. And so those are the kind of things I like to do, and I hope it interests you guys enough to consider subscribing. Fortunately, YouTube hasn't figured out a way to charge you for that yet. Keep your fingers crossed. That being said, I wish you a great day or a great night, depending on what side of the planet you're on right now. It's dark for me. And I'll continue to do the hard work I'm doing to create videos as often as I possibly can, in between going to see doctors like I did today. And I hope this video sounds well, because I found out that the little device that I have to carry around for 3 weeks that looks at my heart actually creates an electrical pulse that causes a little bit of magnetic interference in my mics. Keep your fingers crossed. It's not so bad you can't hear me, but I will try to keep that minimized where I can. Keep your fingers crossed. I only have to do it for 3 weeks, and then I won't have to ever wear it again. And that's not going to stop me from making videos. Worst thing that happen is I'll wrap it in tinfoil until I'm done with the recording. With that said, I don't want to make this any longer than it already is. I'll see you in the next video, and I wish you the best for the day. Take care.